YxngLightz.
Hi, welcome to the RRC race today.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad myself. Commentator for this classic league, and saw the first round, which it wasn't too spectacular, but things have improved since then. And we've got new drivers in as well, so I don't really know the championship for this league, but I'll find out soon when I get the information up. First round in Australia, I can't remember who won it, but it was a Ferrari who won it, 2007 Ferrari, and I don't know which is the quickest car out of all this. I think the 2007 car is one of the quickest around the classic franchise.
Maybe.
I'm not really sure, but we're in Spain, and Spain is one of those.
I think maybe one of the 2003 or 4 cars is the fastest due to like the straights around this track.
Yeah. It's going to be very difficult in the corners because Spain is a very difficult technical track as well, so we've got to keep an eye out the corners. I think it's one shot qualifying, and we've got 2 races each, so it makes up for like 50% and all that.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, well, here we are on board with the Red Bull then. Short qualifying, so we'll have a change of position. We've got a bit of lag with the Red Bull, and positions keep changing, but we'll come down into the first corner then. Avoid the curb on the left and take a little bit of curb on the right. I've got it the wrong way around, sorry. Take it get into first corner and then the second corner. Take a little bit of curb on the second corner. Don't take too much because it will unbalance your car. Brake under the shadows, under the bridge, and I'm going to go on board with boss Eric Gaming because the positions keep changing as he's up into first place. There it is, Eric Gaming then in the McLaren, and that is the 2010 McLaren, I think. Is it? Yeah, I think it's the 2010 McLaren. No. Oh, whatever. It keeps changing position. Yeah, it's the 2010 McLaren for Eric Gaming. He's gone off the track completely. He's taken the long way around, so I think he carried too much speed through there. On board with the wrong driver, so go back to Eric Gaming. The Renault's just outbroke himself, and what's going on?
Oh, I'm on board with the 2007 Ferrari. He's just taken all the wide turns. Are they supposed to do that for like as it's like a classic series?
I don't know, mate. Yeah, this is.
I think they might be able to do that because it's a classic series. I mean, it's a good idea, but it looks a bit weird.
Yeah, it looks a bit weird. And the fastest time is Eric Gaming, the 17.1. That's surprising because I've never seen that before in a classic car event. People taking old lines, so Eric is the fastest man on the track, and we'll find out what his lap time is and find out what car he's in as well. That's one shot qualifying for you all. I think some people got caught out with the braking zone. That's why some of them struggled in the long part. Eric Gaming, the Dutchman on pole. 2007 Ferrari, like you said, one of the quickest cars. Barcy G in second place, ahead of Geordie in the 2008 McLaren. Game Freaks in fourth in the 2007 Ferrari. And Live now in fifth. The Dutch boy in sixth place, ahead of Nando Boy in seventh. Crean in eighth place, ahead of Rachel had in ninth. Tripsy in 10th ahead of Robert Nag, and driver Aero, who did not set a lap time because I was on board with him for a split second and he did struggle. So there's your classifications for the classic car, one shot qualifying, and we move on to the race. Judging by that then, mate, you think the 2007 Ferrari car is quicker?
I didn't expect the 2007 Ferrari car to be at the front. I was more expecting the Renault or the Bronze, or maybe the 2003 BMW Williams, but it surprised me because the 2007 Ferrari does have pace. Does have some good pace.
I like the 2007 Ferrari car. Which is your favourite classic car?
I have quite a couple. I like the Ferraris. All the Ferraris in the classics are good, especially like the ones from 1980s. I like the 1980 Williams. I like the Renault. I think all the cars just look good.
Yep. Oh, we're already away. We're already away. The McLaren's off the track. We don't have no form. Oh. A little bit of a mess at the back of the race, but Eric Gaming leads them down into turn 1. I think some people struggle with traction. That's why we see all those accidents. And the Ferrari's got off the track. The 2010 Ferrari being pushed off the track. Now the 2007 Ferrari versus the 2010 Ferrari going side by side to turn 3. And which one of them will get ahead? There's a break under the shadows, under the bridge for turn 5, sorry, as Crean is now ahead of Game Thieves. We've got a car off the track, and that is the Red Bull. Australia going off the track in the 2010 car. And Nando Boy has spun it where Hulkenberg went off in qualifying in Spain last year. So
Yeah, oh, I gotta say it is quite hard controlling these cars. That's probably why we saw at the carnage at the start. Like the traction is a bit hard on these type cars, but I think these the drivers just need to get used to it, and we'll see how they come.
So taking the long way round, which is the old way for the Spanish GP. That's why if you're just joining and wondering why they're taking the long way round, that's because it's a classic car event. Same for this corner as well. They completely avoid that corner. Take the MotoGP line if you watch MotoGP. And Eric Gaming sets the fastest lap. And this is a different RRC. This is nothing to do with the other RRC. This RRC stands for Retro Classic Championship. That's what RRC stands for. Not the RRC you're thinking about, LH44, as they head down into Turn 1 on lap 2. Eric Gaming is currently leading the way in the 2007 car. Doing a good job so far. Barcy G in the Renault. Do you know the Renault? Has he got built-in traction control?
I'm not sure, but it is a quick car. I think some cars have built-in traction control, like maybe the 2004 Ferrari. It is quite easy to use, no traction on it. I think that's maybe why it's not being used in today's race.
So as you can see here, Eric Gaming will take the long way round. So with other drivers, some drivers will struggle with taking the long way round because it's easy to go off the track and go on the gravel there. You need to slow down. And they all make their way through that part of the track. There's driver Era, the American, making his way through there. Yeah, it's a bit confusing, but at the same time, he flies through there, which he's not supposed to do. He needs to lift off a bit. He was corner cutting there, so just needs to be careful with that one. Not many battles going on like I thought there would be. It's the Spanish GP. So not really expecting too many battles around here. The Red Bull's on the back of Game Freaks headed down into Turn 1. He's in 6th place at the moment. The 2010 Red Bull versus the 2007 Ferrari. I'm
actually quite enjoying the race so far, I think these classic cars do bring out the best of these cars,
Yep.
If that makes sense, because DRS is not used. We get to see their raw pace, their straight line speed, and just to see how fast these cars really are. And it is exciting because it's better to see they're not DRS and just to see their pace, because you never know, setups mean a lot to the cars back then than they do now, because the cars today have ERS, DRS, engine modes. The cars back then didn't really have that, which is that's why I think people enjoy the V8 sounds and the car so much.
Yep, I agree with you there, mate. It's just I miss these type of cars because it just, yeah, like you said, bring their raw speed and their true talent. These cars were difficult to drive. As Creed's off the track at the final corner, so I wonder if he took a bit too much speed through the final corner. Now that Ferrari behind in the 2007 car is going to overtake him, but which one has the better straight line speed? The other car. Down the inside he goes into Turn 1. Can Creed keep it around the outside? He has the inside line for Turn 2. I wonder if these cars are a bit sensitive as well, because a little shove like that will force him off the track. Now coming down into turn number 4, and Creed has to settle in behind the other Ferrari, but he has the outside line, inside line. The Red Bull behind him hits the back of him.
Oh! Not a good showing from the Red Bull team today.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if that was I dare say call it purpose.
I do think driver error almost went into the spinning 2010 Ferrari as well. Just managed to get out of this situation here, but looks like Eric Gaming's been leading this race from start to finish. We're coming to the final lap of the Grand Prix.
Already? Oh yeah, we are.
I must say the 2007 Ferrari is really fast. I kind of underestimated it, but it does look like a really good looking car, fast car as well. And the engine just sounds good. All the engines in the car sounds good as well.
Our retirement from the session is Twipsy. That car smashed into the back of someone. Now he's gone out of the race. Heading on to the last lap, like you said. Which is your favourite car? I think you've already told me, but I forgot. What's your favourite car?
It would have probably, for today's race, be the 2007 Ferrari. Like, the cars are on fire. I love the look of it, the engine. But if I have to be truly serious, my favourite car is the 2009 Brawn.
I like the 2009 board as well, but it was quite weird for the 2009 board in 2009 because they dominated, not really dominated, but the second season wasn't too good for them. They dominated the first half of the season, but when it came to the second half, it's like other cars caught up to the development of the other the cars. So, if that makes sense, like the Brawn was like rapid in the first part of the race. Well, first part of a few races, but when it came to the second half, I think Red Bull caught up. McLaren was, let's just say, horrific in 2009. They weren't really good, but Lewis Hamilton did get 3 wins under his belt. As Eric Gaiman comes across the line, and he will finish in first place at the Spanish GP. Boss, he will come across the line for Renault in 2005 Renault. So would Live Now, so it's a double Renault podium for those drivers. So good job to Renault. Live Now.
I think. I'm not sure, but I think maybe because it is a classic championship, classic points will be scored. So that would mean a lot of points for the Renault team as well. Huge amount of points.
Yeah, so I remember first place had 10, second had 8, third had 6, and 8th place had 1. People in 9th and 10th won't score. If it is that way, 9th and 10th won't score a point.
So that's unlucky for Nando Boy and Geordie, but is it a reverse grid for the next race?
I think it is. We're not sure.
So if it is, then it'll be exciting to see how Eric Gaiman can go through the field, as he wasn't in all the carnage at the start. It'll be exciting to see him go through the field.
In Australia, we saw a 2007 Ferrari win in Australia. So that 2007 Ferrari looks better than the rest of the classic cars.
Yeah.
That's the first race done in Spain then. If Monaco's the next one, that'd be interesting to watch.
Very. I have a feeling, like, even though the Spain classic track is really good, rules and flags might be turned off as well, so maybe like some people might not get penalised for that making contact. But it's also good as well because sometimes the safety car doesn't make the best choices.
Yep.
Come to like, yeah.
Korean, we saw that, mate. Don't worry about it. We saw he hit you and spun you around. Don't worry about it. We definitely saw that on stream.
So, I'm looking forward to race 2.
Same here, mate. I wonder what track it is. Are they going to do Monaco or will they skip it out? Is it the best idea to do Monaco, especially with the classic cars? It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, it's easy for the cars to lose traction in Monaco.
And like the F1 cars, like their braking system, accelerating system, it's all more powerful.
Yep.
Whereas the classic cars, like, they're more raw, but I think these guys can handle it.
See, I've never commentated for a Classic League or watched a Classic League. This is like my first new experience. This is my second time commentating for this league. I did it all the way back in Australia a few weeks ago when I decided not to turn up, to be truthful. But next race, is it Spain again? Yeah,
yes,
Spain again.
It looks like there'll be another one shot, so let's see if anyone can put up the fight to Eric.
And this time, mate, it's a 25% race, so it gives those drivers more chance of doing more overtaking.
Yeah, I also think doing a 25% race, I don't think you will have to pit on these with the dry compound tyre from their classic cars because there's no softs.
The classic cars, I think there's one mandatory pit stop if I remember at the top of my head, but the classic car tyres can definitely go to the end, but it's a mandatory pit stop to make it more fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, with the track that these guys are racing around today, like this the classic track, the undercut might be working wonders here. Like, for the speed you can be carried around the final corner, it might just give you that little boost to try overtake someone.
Right, moving on to the second race, one-shot qualifying at 25% race distance. Now they've got their first taster of the Spanish GP, taking different lines and all that. Let's see if they can improve this time round. It's quite weird for me to commentate for a classic car league, especially when they're taking different lines.
Yeah.
So I'm not used to it. It's like I'm in a different environment. Imagine if we had the old graphics as well.
That would be cool. Really cool.
Did the 2009 Braun have KERS?
I think it came in 2011. I think that's when they introduced DRS and KERS.
DRS was introduced in 2011, but I'm thinking about, did they introduce KERS as well?
Yeah, I think, because I used to play a lot of the 2011 career mode and 10
Yeah.
before PS4 came out, and I think it was introduced in the 2011 game.
I remember when teams like HRT, Marussia and Caterham couldn't afford to buy KERS until 2012. Then 2013
Yeah.
Caterham and Marussia had KERS finally. HRT was just, well, a tremendous, just a horrible car to drive, and a team like, they just couldn't afford anything.
Yeah.
They failed to
Well-
make the first race of the season.
Yeah. They did have one good driver, you could say, and Pedro de la Rosso.
What a classic driver he is. Bruno Senna wasn't spectacular, shall we just say. And
Yeah.
the main car to Cayenne, sometimes there and sometimes not. Who else is there? Karun Chandok? Not really. And who else is there? There's a lot of HRT drivers.
Yeah. But I think we've just seen someone beat Eric Gaiman and probably gone almost a second faster than his time from the last qualifying session.
Should have probably stayed on board with him. You never know, he could cut those corners. But did
Yeah.
you say that Pedro de la Rosa was a good HRT driver? What about Daniel Ricciardo? He was in HRT.
Was he?
Yep, he made his debut in 2011 in HRT.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
You wouldn't expect a guy like Daniel Ricciardo to be in HRT, would you?
I wouldn't expect him to like be anywhere near the team.
He joined midway half through the season, replacing who was it now?
Yeah. He actually drove half a season in HRT.
Yep. He wasn't too good in HRT, but obviously it's a shocking team.
Wow.
But he was lucky to get to Toro Rosso, but he was in the Red Bull program, so it was expected to go to Toro Rosso. But HRT,
After how the Renaults produced a good result in the 5-lap race that we just had, they're looking to score some very decent points today in the 25% race that we have for you guys to do.
be very interesting then. I think we might get a safety car. If damage is on, I did see I put a carbon fibre off someone's car.
We'll have to see.
The first race of the season. You continue, sorry mate.
Oh, I was literally about to say I don't think Formation Up's on.
Nah. Some people got a bit happy throttle on the exit because they didn't expect the car, because traction is a bit strange around these cars.
Yeah.
Lights out, away we go. Let's hope we don't get a chaotic start. Looks like the McLaren gets bobbed out. Look at the Renault got bobbed out at the start. He's been overtaken by 3 cars, almost 4, because the ball goes down the inside of both Renault. Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah, not really
a lot
well.
of people with it.
Not what we want to see whatsoever. Eric Gaiman is taking the lead again in the Ferrari, 2007 Ferrari. Barcy G is in second place ahead of Twipsy. Twipsy made contact with somebody in the last race and retired. Let's hope he doesn't do that again. But he's up into third place and behind the Red Bull. Both Red Bull, Renault and Renault together. Now he goes around the outside into turn 5. Can he keep it stick? He runs out of road. He's still side by side. He backs out of it smartly. So good racecraft from him. What about the guys behind? The McLaren 2010 McLaren behind the 2009 Braun Nando Boy in 5th place. The 6th place driver Aero is in 5th place, taking the long way round, but the Red Bull got caught out. He reset to track, which he didn't take the long way round, and someone in the background's made a mistake. Geordie's in 10th place, Gayfreak's 11th, and Robert. Gayfreak's dropping quite a lot. He's been overtaken by Robert. I got confused there because I thought they were going to take the normal racing line, but the Red Bulls got off the track and spun the rears.
Yeah, it is really weird seeing them drive around the classic track as the camera doesn't really show the cars.
Yeah.
So most of the time I'm on board with them, but it is fascinating to see them perfect all of the corners without the racing line.
Look at that. We're fighting for 5th place. Lando Boy trying to go down the inside of the McLaren. Can he do it into turn 1? Now into turn 2. Look at the McLaren looking a bit loosey on the rear end. There's the 2005 Renault, 2006 Renault, sorry, going down the inside of the McLaren. Has he got it done? Almost. Now he has.
Ooh, the Red Bulls looking to get involved as well. Twipsy looking to go down the inside of... Oh, he's just backed off.
I think he's a bit nervous going to that corner considering what happened last time in the other race.
I must say, the Red Bull does, like, 2010 Red Bull has, like, amazing acceleration. I don't think their top speed's up there with the 2010 McLaren and Ferrari.
Oh, Korean's taking the normal racing line. They're like the modern racing line, so he might get a penalty for that. Did he forget? I don't think he can forget because Eric, you could see Eric took the normal racing line, and so did Barcy G. Barcy G's going to overtake it. The board's off the track, and off he goes into the gravel, spinning around. Bit dizzy from that, but driver Aero up into 3rd place now on the podium. Eric Gaming's just set the fastest lap of the race. Now coming down into turn 1 for Eric Gaming. Look at Live now versus Nando Boy.
Let's see this. I think the Libanel didn't have the best start, but you know, he's working his way through the field and he's doing great for the Renault team with his teammate up into P2. Maybe they can secure another P2, P3 finish again.
The Williams in 3rd place, is that a good car, do you reckon? I know it's a good car obviously, but is that like one of the fastest cars or?
I think it's just a bit slower than the 2004 Ferrari. I mean, like, because right then the 2002 Ferrari was really fast, same with the 2004, so I don't think 2003 would have been any different to the, so it must have had similar pace because it is really fast with straight line speed. I don't think they just have the pace in the corners to keep up with the 2007 to 2010 cars.
Oh, Boss G in the 2006 Renault has caught up slightly behind Eric Gaming. Eric Gaming, well, is to replace by Boss. He's just at the fastest lap of the race on the hunt for Eric Gaming. And Nando Boy versus Live now, they're both lagging into each other, but they're side by side coming out the final corner. I think I should be used to it because MotoGP take that line. And I watch MotoGP quite a lot, so I should be used to them going out wide, but down the inside, he locks up, he hits the Renault.
I didn't really go on board, but I don't know who would be at fault there. A bit of looking up from Nando Boy, but it looked to me about Libanel did close the door a bit. But
2005 Spanish GP, not 2005, 2009 Spanish GP. Jensen Button, I think, won the race. There's a bit of carnage between Adrian Suttel, Jarno Trulli, and the Toro Rossos as well. Javi Alvasquari. Remember they crashed at the first corner, well, 3rd corner. Lewis Hamilton was at the back. That 2009 board, not looking too bad. I thought to be up there, but Lando Boy and the other board driver making mistakes. They're both down in 10th and 11th. Oh, there's 3 board drivers. As Nando's just spun at the exit of the... Yeah.
He's just had to let... Oh, Juicy Boy in the McLaren's also went wide and he just went onto the gravel after trying to take the corner onto one of the back straights.
Well, I've just caught him again. Twice I've caught him. Korean has not been taking the modern... Well, the old racing line. His teammates off the track and spun again.
Oh, and Korean's also just lost it, but he's managed to recover from it as he's come around the final corner now to start his 6th lap.
Driver Aero is now under pressure from the 2006 Renault of Live now, so it's going to be interesting to see what those two can do. Yes. Driver Aero, can he... 15.5 seconds behind already from the top 2. It's only the 5th lap, so it's quite clear that the 2007 Ferrari is just one of the quickest classic cars.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I didn't know they had such good straight line speed, but on board with also the driver error and Libenow battle for P3, this is where you could see the 2003 BMW Williams show their straight line speed pace, because it really is something to watch. But their corner speed is not the best, as that's most likely why Bas GT73 and Eric Gaiman has managed to pull away, because all of the twisty, bendy, hard turns around the Spanish circuit. But if you go on board with Libenow, you would see that driver error just pulls away massively.
Look at that straight line speed compared to driver aero. You're right, mate. You're right.
I think it's just slower. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you go on.
I think it's just slower than the 2004 Ferrari, but it does have some great straight line speed. I think the only thing that lets it down is just the corner speed that they have.
Correct. That Williams I'm looking at in third place, he's got much better straight line speed. That's what's keeping it ahead. But compared to that Vettel behind him, he's catching up in the corners. But when it comes onto the straight, he's just losing contact with him.
Yeah, I think the 2003, 2002 to 2004 cars take longer to accelerate than the rest of the cars on the grid, but they just have higher straight line speed, which is an advantage, especially on this track because of the straights that they have. I mean, the start finish straight is quite a long straight. Spend about 15 seconds going down it. So it really does help cars like the BMW try pull away from someone like Libenow and the Renault. Even though they're both talented drivers, Libenow is managing to keep it in, especially on the straights as well. As you see driver error trying to cut the slipstream.
Mate, look at that. Considering he's got the slipstream, he's flying on the straight.
Yeah. If they had like the pace in the corners, then them cars would literally be on fire. They'd be really quick, and everyone would just be wanting to drive in them.
We've got our first pit stop, which is Robert Nag. He's on the brand new set of the classic tyres. I don't know which tyre it is he's on.
They're called dry compounds. I think they just have dry and wets. But he's going to come out well ahead of Lando Boy, who's far behind. But he's also been in the pits, Lando Boy, as he's on 1 lap old dry compound tyres. I think we should just call them softs.
Yeah, we'll call them softs.
Yeah. So we've had 2 pit stops.
Back in them days, it was Michelin and... Yeah, come on, think. I've got to think now. I know what it is. I know what it is. It's Michelin. Don't tell me what it is. Oh, Libernow's just spun.
Is it? Oh, that's very unlucky for him.
Hope he keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelin. Oh, come on. I can't. Come on. There's Bridgestone. Michelin and Bridgestone. They were the old compounds back in the day.
I don't really remember. I just remember Pirelli. Libenow dives into the pits. Game Freaks moves his 2007 Ferrari up into P4. Can he be up there with his teammate Eric Gaiman, try to secure the 1-2 for Ferrari today?
As created says, the fastest lap of the race is 16.5 in the 2009 Braun. Who knows?
That would have been good enough for pole.
Who knows what he could have done without all the mistakes he's been doing?
Yeah.
Which car? Sorry, you continue.
I mean, if nobody made any mistakes, then I think the times would have been close in quality, especially in the race.
Which car is the most difficult car to drive, do you reckon, in the classic franchise?
It would, well, depending on traction,
yeah.
I might have to say the 2003 to 4 cars. On exits, they're really slow, and then like when they start to speed up, you can lose the back end. I don't know if it's just for me, but it is really hard to control them. But when you get used to driving them, you do get a hang of it, and you eventually start to gradually build up speed in them cars.
Don't worry, mate. I've noticed it too. When you come out the corners, traction's not there, but sometimes it's so easy to lose the car.
Yeah.
That this Renault in second place, it's got built-in traction, so it's all good. Even if you turn traction control off, it's got built-in traction itself, and that was banned because Formula 1 wanted racing where it's just pure skill and they don't want no assist, you know what I mean? No ABS,
Yeah.
no traction, it's just all down to them.
Yeah. I didn't think we realised, but before Driver Aero actually came into the pits, when we last checked, he had a 15-second gap to second and first. It was then 22 before he came into the pits.
Ooh.
So he needs to do quite a lot of work to try and close that gap. This would be the best time for him to try and close that gap because he has nobody behind him, nobody in front of him. It's just him and clean air. So maybe he could use this to try and gain some time back to the cars in front.
I don't know what Korean's doing. I went on board with him and he's slowing down. Hello Yuri, how are you? I hope he's not doing anything stupid. And what's he doing? Oh no! Don't tell me. He's driving backwards. He's that one-class cloud, isn't he?
I mean, there's no rules and flags, so he won't be disqualified. But it's not really cool.
It's just taking the piss, really. If I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Apologies about the language, but he wants the spotlight, and I'm not giving it him. So back on board with Eric Game. Oh. Even when I'm on board with Eric Gaming, I can see him going backwards.
He's almost taken out Bosch GT as well.
If he takes out anybody, he'll be instantly disqualified from the league and kicked out because that's just not on.
I think he is trying to get out of the way of people, but I don't know what he's trying to do, whether it's either trying to go back into the pits or just be an idiot because it's not... Yeah, looks like he's also low on fuel now, so I really don't know what he's trying to do.
Mate, if you're listening to the stream, either retire from the session or leave the league, because if you're going to do this, then I can't.
I don't know what he's planning on doing, but he's retired from the session, which is maybe just relieve the stress on other drivers, trying not to crash into him. But 11 drivers now, and 11 drivers driving the right way.
Oh, Eric Gaming. Yeah. He's put in the chat, I listened, so you should have... I don't know what... You were in 4th place, mate. I don't understand why you did it. Like, you were in 4th. Why would you do it?
I mean, he was the leading Braun driver and to score some very decent points for Braun as well, but it's a shame he just had to lay it down now.
Yeah. So, controversy in the race and in the chat. Apparently something's going on with 1st place. Apparently Eric wanted me to prank Hisp. I don't know what I mean by pranking, but it's just not a good thing to do, regardless of what league it is.
Yeah. So I think the only battle that's really one to watch for is the battle for P5 between Game Freaks and Libernal, because Driver Aero's now moved back another 6 seconds to P1 and P2. Hopefully you can try to close that gap, but for now, this looks like it's not going to happen.
I think it's just the top. The Williams is not really fast enough to try and catch up to the top two. There's just that the dominant car of the Renault and the McLaren. Yeah,
maybe if they were racing around a track like Mexico, it would be okay because they do have some serious straights around there. Oh, Robert Nag, he's spun and reset to track.
That's a common place to spin. Even in modern cars, that is still a common place to spin. It's really difficult because if you get on the gravel, slight touch of the gravel, the wheel spin and you lose traction. It's just frustrating, really. This track is quite difficult in general.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why they use it for pre-season testing. You know, just to get used back to the lines, to get used to hard corners, and just get used to the car, really. So know how you're going to be taking the corners and stuff.
Yep. We only saw F1 2020 for what's it called? Pre-season testing. That's the only thing we saw of F1 this year.
Hopefully we can see some more F1 2020 come in the next few months.
I think the latest it will start is probably about Hungary, if I want to say that. I have no idea if it's going to start. That's a good question. Why is everyone corner cutting? Well, basically, yeah, it's the old lines, mate. It's just the old lines for the classic GP. That's why everybody's corner cutting. Look, go on Bubble Driver Aero, he will go off the track and do this.
It's just using the classic lines from, because they're in the classic cars. I think it's only right that they use the classic lines, especially like maybe with other GPs as well. If there's other lines that you could use, they're gonna take it.
Do you know where Game Freaks is now? This is a penalty loop for MotoGP. This is the penalty loop because if you do something with the yellow flags, oh, alright then. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Libet now and Game Freaks make contact with each other. They both slow down for some reason. This line where Libet now's coming is the MotoGP line where they take it. They don't go through there because it's like not for bikes. So this MotoGP also use this track. Marc Marquez won here a couple of times in Ducati. Not Ducati, Honda, sorry, Repsol Honda.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm just keeping an eye on the gap between second and third. It's gone down even more. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is such a fast car on the start finish, like straights, just main straights, but it's not really the best. Like, you don't get the best acceleration out of it, but he has managed to pull a gap from Twipsy, just about. He has got the 3-second margin, but Twipsy is closing that gap a tenth, a sector, I think.
Eric Gaming's just having a peaceful race at front. He's managed to get rid of Boss G, who was applying the pressure, but it seems like Eric Gaming's got the better of him. And in that 2007 car is really good, in fact, because he won the first GP in Australia, like Kimi Räikkönen did in 2007 Australia. When was the first time you was watching F1 in your life, YxngLightz?
I think 2012. It was, I think, in China in 2012. That's when I started watching.
Rosberg.
Yeah, yes, when he won.
Nico Rosberg was one of my favourite drivers in F1. Not saying that to take the mick. He was generally one of my favourite F1 drivers. I was so happy when he won the championship in 2016. You carry on talking, mate, because I've got to do something for a few minutes. I'll be back.
Alright. As we see, Libernal and Game Freaks is the closest battle out on track. Also, Geordie and Lando Boy. That's the battle for PA, and the battle for P5 is what we're watching. Bosch GT3 now has a 4-second gap to Eric Gaiman. It was 3 seconds, but it really must have hurt him more when the lap car and Lando Boy was in the way. Lap 15 out of lap 17, just a couple of more laps to go until the end of the Spanish Grand Prix here at RCC. 12 races, 11 finishes currently at the moment. As you can see, like what Indigo said, some of you guys might be wondering why these guys are taking such weird lines, but it's because these guys are in classic cars, they're running in classic league. It's only right that they take the classic circuit lines. So, as we see, as we mentioned before, it was a 2.9 second gap between Twipsy and Driver Aero, but it's closed down quite a lot, about 6 tenths. And I think it's going to be closing down quite more. It might be a good battle between them two cars for the last position on the podium. As we go on board with Robert Nags. Robert Nags has actually closed the gap between Game Freaks and Libernal. Libernal's managed to find some time towards pushing away from Game Freaks, but Robert Nags has closed the gap and he's looking to hopefully try and make an overtake soon.
What was the gap the lap before?
So between him and Robin, I think it was about 2 seconds. So somewhere along the line, Game Freaks must have made a mistake.
Robert Nag early on in this race made loads of mistakes. Now I think he's found his rhythm and finally back up there. So let's see what he can do against this car, the 2007 car.
Yeah, it has shown some really super pace here at today's race. But Robert Nag hasn't been at the front. He hasn't really been at the front today, but he has lost it again.
Oh,
very unlucky.
So,
that might have been a commentator's curse.
So Game Freaks and Eric Gaiman, he's almost close. Well, Eric Gaiman and Game Freaks are on the same car, so I wonder what it is. Is it driver preference? Because those two are far away from each other and in the same car, and you want the fastest cars, so just
I wonder if the guys are using setups.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I have Aero, F1 at 6 PM UK, and do you want to do 5 lappers after with me, Max, and Leggy, maybe more. Maybe, mate, depends how I feel. lap 16 out of 17. Eric Gaming's done a fantastic job. I think he loves classic cars, the way he's like handling them.
Yes, from start to finish, he's shown absolute mega pace, and he's done 2 mega drives. Hopefully he can bring it home as he started the final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix in that 2007 Ferrari. My god, it's just beautiful.
Finally getting away from modern F1 cars, can look at some classics and listen to the sound of those cars as well. People say bring back the old engines, bring back the old eras and all that, but the thing is though, it will never come back because we're on a new generation, and trust me, it will never come back. You just got to deal with it. The past is the past, and we'll move on to the future. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, Robin Nag has also just made a crash around the same place he did last lap, but he is quite in front, about 40 seconds in front of Goosey Boy running in P8, so he does have enough time to try and recover to try and start his final lap of the Grand Prix. But Goosey Boy's like, he's shown some excellent pace in the McLaren. He's had a great race. He's still going to be finishing in the points as he is in P8. He'll be the last point finishing scorer, I believe. But Robin Nag does have some type of gap, but he does have a lot of debris on his tyres, as Eric Gaming's just lapped him, and he's about to come around the final corner to win in Spain.
Yep, 2007 Ferrari, absolutely dominant today, well done to him. Barcy G will finish in 2nd place, and Driver Aero in 3rd. Robert Nag finishes in 7th place.
Wait, let's try and watch this battle for P3 and 4, because the gap was about 2 seconds the last time I checked. It's now under 1 second between Twipsy and Aero, and Sector 3 is very technical, but due to the fact that it is classic, it might go in Driver Aero's hands here. But let's see what Twipsy can do in the final stages of his race here. Well, he's on older tyres, but he's still managing to put up a fight. And he's got such a great exit. It's unlucky that they don't have penalties, otherwise like, it would have made the race so much more exciting.
They finish in 3rd and 4th. Live Now will finish in 5th place at a Game Freaks. This time it's not a double Renault podium, unfortunately, but they still score points, as Game Freaks will finish in 6th place. Not too much of a bad race, but we did see some drivers making loads of mistakes. I think that's what the classic car is all about. People just make loads of mistakes because they just misjudge and misunderstand the cars.
Yeah.
It's just such a different feel for the cars, you're just going to get used to it.
Yep. Well, here's your top 3. Eric Gaiman, once again, 2 wins in a row. Must really love this circuit. Must really love the 2007 Ferrari as well. Barge GT73, I think, collecting the consecutive P2, and Driver Aero will take P3. That's the top 3 from there. What do you think about the race?
Do you know what? It might not be so much action in the race, but it was very interesting to watch the drivers ride round. It was just very interesting to watch them, how they can handle with the car and drive around with the car as well. So it might be a boring race, but at the same time, I just love watching these classic cars just go around the track.
Yeah, it does bring you some good memories from when they used to race. Like, I think the races back then was so much more exciting than how it is today. I mean, like, it was just close championships. Like, also, like, the old points, the point system, also good. And it's exciting how they brought this back as well. It brings the championship a lot more closer, as, like, in modern day championship standings, you have a 7-point gap if you win a race and someone comes second. Here you might have a 2-point gap, so it brings the championship so much closer, and it just, classic cars are here for us all to enjoy, and I think that's why everybody loves these classic cars in Formula 1.
I want us to be in the 2012 cars. I just missed that year. 2012 was an absolute thriller. We had 7 different races and 7 different winners in 7 races. Missed that year so much. You could say 2012 was...
races.
I remember quite a lot.
I remember the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I remember the Indian Grand Prix.
Ooh.
I remember the Chinese Grand Prix, Australian Grand Prix.
The Indian Grand Prix belonged to Vettel.
Yeah. You know, I miss them circuits as well, especially Malaysia, India. They were good circuits. I remember the South Korean circuit as well. I do remember going down that back straight, and I think they had S's in the final sector. I used to play it on the old game, but it was a good circuit. I think they need to bring them circuits back here, especially
2011. Yeah, 2011. I used to ride around that track a lot. I used to love the Indy Grand Prix. Did the first few corners were just amazing. Down that straight, then it's just a lovely ride round in sector 2.
Yeah. I think if they don't bring it back in real life, they should at least bring it back for the classic cars. Like, give the spectators or the drivers something else to race around instead of the same circuits. Like, it might just bring somewhat more excitement to the races.
Do you remember the 2013 game where they brought back the Brands Hatch GP?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, that was so fun to drive around with.
Yeah.
That was the only race I would do with 100% distance. Because it was so short, I decided to do 100%.
I raced around there a couple of times. It was a tricky circuit to start with because I've never raced around there, but like it was just a beauty. Like, I love to drive around that circuit. Like, sometimes I drive around there on the Gran Turismo circuit. It's just such a great track to race around.
Anyways, that is today done for you. Thank you so much, YxngLightz, for commentating with me. That's the first time we've done it with each other, and it's actually quite went well.
Yeah, looking forward to do some more.
Yeah, same with you, mate. Same with you. Been a pleasure. Right, that's it today. That's it. Oh, I can't even speak anymore. I did commentate earlier on at 1 o'clock. We're done here today at Spain. 2 races, and Eric Game is the winner of both races. Congratulations to him. Success for the next race for Eric.